I am just completing my 65-mile Sunday ride. Yes, it's been a long morning, seems like forever, but I tend to ride pretty ferociously, keeping a steady average speed of around about 22, 23 miles per hour. Um, yeah, it was pretty interesting ride this morning, considering I basically had to go through 60 something miles yesterday, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do anything today, but decided get out there and do it. You know, tomorrow I go into a situation of just being completely super busy with finance, so today was the day to do it. At any rate, it's over now. I'm sitting here now trying to recover. It's going to take probably another 30 minutes before I can feel normal again because my body's still adjusting from the spinning. Um, Road biking for me is one of life's gifts, I guess you can call it. I tend to believe that I have an avocation for riding a bike. I've been riding this bike for a long time, ever since I was a kid. And just basically only gave it up when I had to leave for duty. But even leaving for that period of time and not being able to ride for that period, I can tell you when I got back on the bike, it took me a year of training to get back to my old form. So if anybody ever tells you bike riding is easy, if it were, the streets would be filled with riders. And I can tell you, I've been riding for a while. And I got to tell you, I don't see very many bikes on the roads at all. Now, granted, yes, the kids are riding in the trails and everything like that. Haven't really done any trails in my lifetime other than once. I think when I lived in Washington, D.C., when I first moved out there, I did the cruise thing on the bike, trying to train, and I ended up somehow on a trail across the Potomac River. But as soon as I saw an opportunity to get back in the street, I think it was at the Lincoln Memorial or whatever have you, I quickly got everything back on the major streets. So next thing I know, I was there at the White House, Connecticut Avenue, Lincoln Memorial. And then I found a street, I believe it was called M Street. The next thing I knew, I was in Georgetown. So I did the DC thing there for a while, but it was mainly coming out of Virginia, crossing the bridges, and getting into the city through the I believe they called him Thomas Jefferson Memorial, and then just got into the city. But yes, I definitely had quite some years of experience in the Washington area. Alexandria became a good ride. The only thing I got to tell you about Virginia, though, Virginia is kind of deceiving. When you're riding through there in an automobile, you don't really notice it. But that town has some serious hills. It is, like hills everywhere. It's almost like I can see, because I did hear when I was a kid, back when I was in school, that Virginia had some relationship to West Virginia. And I'm not exactly sure who signed what to get West Virginia separate, but at the same time, those hills you see in West Virginia, Virginia has their own. So I can definitely see why they call it West Virginia because It's just amazing. I mean, some of these hills are like climbing mountains. I mean, I've been on 14, 15-degree hills. And I can tell you, when your body starts to have to make that journey up anything past an 8-degree hill for any sustained time, and when I say sustained time, I'm talking, you're riding this hill for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes straight up before you actually get to any kind of, base level degrees. It's pretty serious. I mean, you're really working out. You're basically putting your body through a very, very strenuous process. And of course, they say no pain, no gain. But at the same time, you're definitely going to gain something if you go through that process, especially on a daily basis. I used to do every day. Now I'm down to about maybe 5 or 6 days a week. Just a little older now, so I can't, just don't have that same kind of drive to want to get out there every single day with those kinds of miles. This bike you're looking at here now, this is my oldest bike. I've got a total of three bikes. One of them I'm kind of working on, kind of got it all taken apart. Problem is, I don't have time to work on them anymore because of, the type of work I do. But the third bike, I'm not going to mention any brand name or anything like that, but that bike cost me, I think the regular price was like 16,999 or something, and I ended up getting it on sale. I couldn't let it go. I was like, okay, well, let's do it. I just pulled the lever. That bike cost me probably about maybe 14.3 or something like that with the tax and all that. Yeah, I mean, if I had to do it again, probably not, because I still find myself riding this bike the most. And the reason being is because this bike, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, it's full carbon. When I bought this bike brand new, it probably cost me, geez, probably about maybe 5,000. Of course, I just changed. I took the wheels off, the carbon wheels. It didn't come with carbon wheels. It came with these wheels that are on here now. At least one of them, because I think the other one blew. But the aluminum wheels, and I put carbon wheels on them. But I got to tell you, biking is expensive. The wheels for this bike cost as much as the bike did. So you pay quite a bit for the luxury of riding bikes. And on top of that, you get the benefit of having to enjoy it by exerting great force. So those bike rides that you do, yeah, they are incredible, but at the same time, you actually do a lot of work to pay for riding that bike. So my thing is, my new bike, I don't even take it out. I mean, I might take that bike out 2 or 3 times over the course of the spring. Where I live, it's always raining. I mean, I don't even live in Seattle, but basically, it's raining a lot. Yeah, it's 100 degrees in the summer and it's 20 degrees below in the winter. So it's like you have to basically learn to get out there and just put up with the heat and the cold, or you find yourself riding indoors. I'm not an indoor rider. I just don't like it. I mean, it's, sort of stationary. It's like, kind of reminds me of a hamster in a cage. So my thing is, I got to get out there and I got to feel the air. I got to feel the hills. I've got to feel the whole process. And trying to simulate it is just not my thing. Now, what have I repaired on this bike? Well, like I mentioned, it came full carbon, other than the wheels. The seat, I did change the seat. I went to a fully carbon seat because the seat, although they claimed it was carbon, it didn't feel carbon to me. It felt like some type of constructed knockoff material, whatever have you. And when I did buy a new one, which is the current one that is on the bike, this seat actually, when I took it out of the box, it was just amazing how light it was, just as light as a feather. And I mean, literally light as a feather compared to the other seat, which when you held it, you had to hold it because it had a little bit of weight to it, had quite a bit of weight to it. So that took off just tons of grams. And then when I went to the from the aluminum wheels to the carbon wheels again, and the carbon wheels I have on here are 3/4 covered in the rear. So you would think with all that carbon they would be heavy, but no, they're just as light as a feather. But the problem is the streets. I ride in the streets. I mean, with traffic, and there's potholes everywhere. So my thing is, I've gone through. This is my second set of carbon wheels, and I kind of feel like I'm not gonna keep buying carbon wheels because of these badly repaired streets. So basically, I just at this point have decided that I think the best thing for me to do is just to simply put the original aluminum wheels on it. And the aluminum wheels they handle the potholes and the bumps and indentions and fractures and cracks in the street better than the carbon. The carbon can handle it. The only problem is you ruin the carbon wheel. So I've already ruined one set, and basically at this point I just take them off during the when I'm training and whatnot. Sometimes I wonder if carbon wheels are just for looks because they're fragile. The aluminum ones, they break, they crack. I've broken two rims on since I've had this bike. Just wore out. They just wore out. I mean, one time I was riding a bike and literally the rear tire, it's almost like it melted. I don't know if the tires got too hot or what the case was, but I was just kind of surprised, and it almost caused me to have an accident because there's no warning or anything like that. All you hear is a pop, and of course that's the carb. I mean that's the aluminum cracking. And when I looked at the tire, I said to myself, I couldn't believe it. I had to walk home that day. Of course, my thing was I ruined my cleats because I had to walk like 6 miles back. So I wasn't going to pay anybody to come get me because I just don't trust people on that level. So I basically had to walk back, and of course the tire or the wheel was completely ruined. And I thought I could get a really cheap aluminum wheel. No, 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 no. Everything on your bike nowadays costs you an arm and a leg. I do have an Ultegra on my carbon wheels. This one here is a 105, but it's so worn. I mean, at one point the chain wouldn't even stay on it. It was so worn. And of course, they told me, "Oh, you need a new cassette." That was 3 years ago. So my thing was they wanted to keep my cassette. I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I put that back in the box. I'll take that with me. I just paid a ton of money for the Ultegra. I'll take this with me." So I took it and I had it in the back of my car for, I don't know, maybe a month. And then I decided, you know what? Let's put those that cassette back on my new aluminum wheel, and I took the Ultegra off and put it on the carbon wheels. So I did used to do a lot of the work myself, but with my work that I work now, I mean, I've had the same kind of work. The problem is, it's just I'm in a bigger position now, and I just don't have the time to be messing with the bike anymore like I used to. But again, the whole consequence of the money that you spend, I said $14,300 for that other bike. Yeah, it's a blissful bike. And I say this, I tell people this story. When I first basically got off duty, my goal was to start to compete for the Tour de France. But I found out it wasn't as easy to get in there. You had to have a whole ton of money and sponsors. And I mean, the world just was a different place at that moment. It still is in a different place, but it's improved. Maybe you can get a sponsor quicker now than you could back then. But I finally, at some point about 2.5 years ago, decided, you know what? I've pushed it too long. I'm not going to be able to get that shot. So, at that point, it just became personal training for myself. And I just, that dream just kind of went down the tubes. But at any rate, don't let things stop you. If that's what you want to do, there's all kinds of opportunities now. You have a better opportunity to try to assist with trying to get where you want to go with whatever it is you want to do. I mean, over the last 4 years, I've seen in this current presidential election. I mean, the things I've seen and what has been exposed in that process, it's just completely unbelievable. So that tells you you can't stop some people. So the thing is that's a good thing because it gives people, you know, the drive and the incentive to try to do things that they want to do, even though someone might want to stop you. So at this point, um, yeah, biking is expensive, but it's a very healthy task. Thank you very much, you two, for listening to my channel. Have a good day.